Good morning. Happy full moon and eclipse. Hi, Soul Star. I'll wait a couple of minutes to see if anyone else comes on. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold today, so I'm a bit stuffy. I hope I don't have to blow my nose or anything. But I'm excited to join you all on Periscope for this live Vedic Astrology update. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's been going on in the skies lately with the movement of the planets and the eclipses. Lee Vedic, hi. So, as a lot of you probably know, tomorrow morning, and I'm on Pacific time, so if I just say time, it's going to be Pacific. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pacific is going to be the peak of the full moon and the lunar eclipse, which is going to be visible from a lot of places on Earth. We're going to be able to see it from, think about most places where it's night, so it's not going to be visible in like Europe and Africa, but most of the rest of the world, India, Pacific, most of Asia, most of North and South America, are going to be able to see and experience this lunar eclipse. So, as always, a full moon is the time that is halfway through a lunar cycle. We began this lunar cycle on March 8th with the new moon, which also brought an eclipse, a total solar eclipse that was visible from some places on Earth. So, that eclipse was a very powerful lineup of planets. I don't know if you saw the chart. We had almost all of the planets, we had all of the planets in the sky in the Vedic chart in 3 signs. They were in Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. So these are fixed signs, which makes it a little bit more intense. It's like the energy is really, really strong. It's not as flexible. Nobody's energy is feeling as flexible with all of those planets in the fixed signs. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So on that last eclipse, we had Sun and Moon joined with Ketu in sidereal Aquarius. You guys are tuning into Vedic Astrology, so you might be familiar already, but Vedic uses a different zodiac than the traditional, the current Western zodiac, which has been set to align more with the seasons. Sidereal zodiac goes with the position of the stars and planets as we view them from Earth. So, for example, we just had the equinox on March 21st in the Western tropical zodiac. Hi. The sun is said to be in Aries then, but if we look at like a star map or something, we can see from our perspective on Earth that sun is still more aligned with Pisces for another couple of weeks. So anyway, the first eclipse really stirred things up. It was all these planets were joined with Ketu. Hi, okay, Aquarius, hi. So again, we're talking about the difference between the Vedic and Western. So one thing that we say differently in the Vedic is that you are more what your rising sign is, as opposed to your sun sign. This gets it a little bit more specific because the planet on the horizon changes every couple of hours, and that determines a lot about your whole life course. All the different houses in your chart are different signs depending on what your rising is. So anyway, anybody that has a lot of planets or a rising sign in sidereal Aquarius was probably really especially feeling this eclipse a couple of weeks ago because it brought up all of our shadow work around that house of Aquarius. And if you have a lot of planets there or you're a rising, then that really brought up a lot of work. Cancer, it means something else for you too. If you guys haven't checked it out, I have a free ebook on my website right now that has a forecast for these eclipses for all the 12 Vedic rising signs. So that's a really good way to get into it and start to see a preview of what's in store for you. And then, of course, everybody's affected differently depending on your entire chart, depending on the position of all the planets in your chart. It might have subtle nuances for how your life is affected, for what karmic patterns are getting activated at the time of the eclipse. So anyway, a lot of shadow work got stirred up a couple of weeks ago in Aquarius. So whatever house that is for you, that means something specific. In general, for everybody, that was raising issues of our commitment to universal service, because Rahu and Jupiter are on the other side of that axis right now in sidereal Leo. And Rahu and Jupiter, Rahu is this planet with a lot of intensity. It brings a lot of intensity. It really gets us like kind of obsessed with wherever it's lying. And Jupiter's our philosophies and beliefs. And then Leo is the sign that's like on the throne. Okay, it's a little choppy. I'll try to go slower. I'm out in the woods. You can see I'm in my yurt here. I was going to do it outside, but it's a little chilly today. So anyway, beliefs are intense right now. You can see that with the election. We're totally polarized. People are really getting riled up about their belief systems, their political beliefs. People are starting to take it personally. And, you know, that's very intense on the one side. People are looking to find power through their beliefs. On the other side of that, universal service, where K2 has been eclipsing, might be a little bit overlooked, or we might be questioning how we can balance universal service with personal empowerment. So that's one of the main things that got stirred up. Again, you know, depending on where your rising sign lies, it may be different. If you are a Leo rising, you're going to have some stuff with your relationships coming up last week. If you are a Taurus rising, last week you may have faced some things with your career not going quite as straightforward as you thought. So this week, this eclipse on Wednesday is going to be in sidereal Virgo, with the moon in Virgo. It's still very close to that Rahu in Leo. But basically, with this eclipse, we're going to be really trying to figure out the details of what happened when we were eclipsed on March 8th. Like, we saw some shadows. We saw some stuff come up that needs to change in our lives. And now it's really time to get down to earth and figure out the practical details about how we can move forward and, you know, and grow in terms of the shadows that we saw. There may be some things that need to be thrown out. There may be limiting beliefs in our minds that we realized are there that aren't serving us. Or there may be some thought patterns that were kind of in the backs of our minds that we were ignoring that came to the surface. And we're like, wow, that is a change that I need to make in my life. So you're going to be continuing this work, especially this week around this lunar eclipse. You're going to be feeling it more in your heart, in your emotional body, because the moon is the planet of the heart. And when this gets the shadow obscuring it during the eclipse, we really feel like a little bit of overwhelm, a little bit of mystery in our heart, hard to get in touch with it, but definitely a lot of strong feelings as well, because the moon is so close to Rahu during this eclipse. So something else that I want to mention that is a really big celestial event happening this week is that near the end of the week, Saturn is going to first become stationary and then begin his retrograde course. So right now, Saturn is in sidereal Scorpio. And Saturn transits a sign for about 2.5 years. So we're about halfway through this Saturn cycle in Scorpio. And you may have been noticing, you know, it's different for everyone depending on which house it is, but in general, everyone's reevaluating their commitment to transformation, because that's part of the Scorpio energy. It's our willingness to dive into our emotional depths, our willingness to look at our fears and our vulnerabilities and to make change and to transform and grow based on facing and strengthening those vulnerabilities. Saturn there brings a reminder of the need to do that for the long term. Saturn reminds us of the eternal. Saturn is a very big, old, slow planet. He carries the Shiva energy. And so we've really been questioning, you know, are my commitments to my personal development really in line with helping me grow for the long term? And this is a question that everybody has, and depending on what your Vedic rising sign is, this is going to be affecting a different area of your life. You know, for example, Cancer rising is questioning, you know, are my commitments to my creative process really in alignment with my highest good? You know, some people that are Cancer I've been talking to are questioning about children in their lives. You know, should I have children? Like, really questioning, what am I going to be committed to in the long term regarding this house in my chart? So that's another big transit. I'm going to be putting out a report for the 12 signs so you guys can understand that. Basically, the retrograde motion of Saturn is going to be giving us a chance to slow down and look really deeply at those questions arising from Saturn and Scorpio in our lives and in our charts. This retrograde period will go until about August, and at which point Saturn starts moving forward again, and this will be the last leg of its journey forward before it goes into sidereal Sagittarius. So you may have been questioning these things of Saturn on your house that is Scorpio for the last couple of years. This last retrograde journey of Saturn is a chance to really go back, slow down, get clear on those things, you know, it might be a time for transformation, a time to throw out some old patterns and really commit to your highest path of transformation regarding whatever area of your chart is Scorpio. So those are the biggest events that I wanted to tell you guys about right now. Again, the eclipses come in pairs twice a year, and Rahu and Ketu are the nodes, the north and the south nodes of the moon. And wherever they lie, we're going to be feeling a lot of the energy of those houses coming up around the eclipses. And basically, Rahu and Ketu just transited into sidereal Leo and Aquarius about 2 months ago now, end of January. And they're going to transit here for a year and a half. So whatever has come up for you around this eclipse cycle, you're probably going to be feeling that energy for, you know, a year and a half is a time where you're going to be working on this karma, on this area of your life. And it's a lot of this subconscious stuff that you try to ignore that's coming up. And again, whatever houses those are for you is where you're really feeling it, you're really thinking about it. You might have had some disruption and change, and you're going to be doing work on yourself in that area. You're especially going to be feeling it around the time of the eclipses, which is now March. We have a pair of eclipses, and then the next one will be in September, another pair of eclipses, and then finally next February will be the last pair of eclipses with Rahu and Ketu on the Leo-Aquarius axis. So check out your charts. If you're not familiar with your Vedic chart, check it out, because you actually might find out that you're a different sign than you thought you were in the Western. Western resonates, it has some applications, but a lot of people see their Vedic chart and there's this, you know, most of the planets are one sign off because we use that different zodiac that's aligned a little bit differently. In New York, when can you see an eclipse? So New York, I believe it'll be visible just near the just after sunrise. If you can still see the moon setting, you'll be able to see the eclipse then. But it's worth mentioning that in Vedic tradition, it's considered inauspicious to view the eclipses. Like, if you're feeling any negative effects coming up, like we're talking about, usually eclipses tend to rile things up. They tend to be disruptive influences. You know, it can be positive for spiritual work and spiritual growth because it helps us to see our weaknesses, to see our subconscious negative patterns and our own shadows so we can work on them. But it might be more disruptive to your life if you actually view the eclipse. So that's just, you know, that's what they say in India. That's the Vedic tradition. They say it's best not to look at the eclipse. My teacher even says it's best not to eat or drink during the eclipse because things in the atmosphere are tainted with that negative energy. And the best thing that you can do during that time is spiritual practice, because you really want to try to align yourself with the highest divine purpose behind the planet. So chanting, doing some simple meditation, doing some mantras, you know, doing a yoga practice, just kind of being still with yourself is a better thing to do during the eclipses than like go out and party and look at it. So let's see, we were talking about the Rahu Ketu cycle through Aquarius. Leo is going to have 3 different major parts when we have the eclipses now, and in September and next February. So you really want to look at where are Leo and Aquarius in your Vedic chart. You know, there's software online that you can go to generate that, and just make sure that you're doing the Vedic chart, that you're using the sidereal Hindu zodiac, which again, it is actually true to what's in the stars. Like last night we could see the moon right next to Jupiter in sidereal Leo, in Leo. You could see it near Leo constellation in the sky. So whatever your rising sign is in the Vedic, you know, you're going to have 2 houses that are Leo and Aquarius. This is going to mean a lot for what's going on in your life right now. And if you aren't sure what it means, you know, definitely get a reading. Eclipses are some of the most helpful times to get an astrology reading, because people really feel this shadow energy coming up out of nowhere. It's the part of us that's most deeply buried. It's the most subconscious energy, and so people just don't know what to make of it. They're like, why am I thinking about this old thing? This thing is coming out of nowhere. Something just happened and I don't know what to make of it. And people have really been finding the readings super helpful right now, because we're going to be dealing with this energy for a year and a half. Whatever has come up for you recently, it's going to last about that long, and hopefully we have a great opportunity to make some spiritual progression and to have some maturing and some growth happen. Because that is the goal of the planets for us. They're not here to disturb us. They're really here so that we can grow into our higher selves, our most optimal selves, where we're totally in alignment with the universe, where, we understand our karma, we understand our dharma, our purpose in this life. We mature around the areas where we're least mature, which that has a lot to do with the nodes as well. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope you have a really powerful period of growth throughout these eclipses. Leo and Aquarius is very much about balancing self-love with universal love. It's about taking care of our own kingdom, our own personal family and those around us, versus taking care of the world and being of universal service also. And we need both of those things to really thrive, to really be healthy, well-rounded individuals. And so I hope you guys can find that balance. Check out your charts. Check out my website, somiadevi.com. Again, I'm giving a free ebook away right now where you can learn a lot more about these eclipses and about Rahu and Ketu and what those mean for you. I'm also offering a special eclipse reading package, which a lot of people have been getting. With that, you get 3 readings, 3 personal readings of your chart around these 3 eclipse periods, one around now, one in September, and one in February. So check that out, and share and sign up for my mailing list. I send out lots of free astrology updates. Thank you. Yeah, sorry I'm stuffy again. Namaste. Namah Shivaya, Hari Bol. Thank you.